I'm Dominic Patton, and thank you for joining us on Next Generation TV. I'm here with Justina Machado, the star of the new version of One Day at a Time. Now, I have to ask you, okay?
Yes.
Were you a fan of the original?
No.
Why? You're totally not supposed to say that.
No, but
Norman Lear's going to be phoning up now.
But I was fans of his other shows. No, I wasn't, because it was by the time I started watching it, it was reruns, and then the girls were older, and I couldn't relate. I was a little girl. But when I did have the opportunity to have this, I did go back and watch episodes.
And what did you find watching the old episodes that informed you for the new? I guess we call it a reboot or a revival.
Yeah, what I found was that it gave me permission to breathe, to be a real person, and it was kind of like a one-act play. And so that's what it gave me permission to go ahead and just settle into the character and settle into the show.
It's been kind of reformatted in a Latino format. Yeah. And you play a single mom, Penelope, an ex-military service member, trying to raise your kids, and your mom is now living with you, and all, as they say, hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
So how do you feel the reception has been for the revival of this?
I think it's been great. I think that what's so wonderful is, even though it's being told through Latino eyes, and we're kind of changing the Latino narrative, is that it's a universal story. So everybody, doesn't matter what ethnicity or nationality, that's the beautiful thing about Netflix. It's in 190 countries, and people are relating to it because it's a relatable thing, and the reception has been amazing.
Well, I mean, I always thought one of the things that was great about it is when there was all the talk about putting it in a Latino context, is in fact, there's not a giant banner flying around. It's like, this is a family.
That's right.
This family is living their lives with their struggles and their joys and their conflicts and their successes. They just happen to be of a Cuban Latino background.
And that's the way it should be all the time.
We'll talk about other stuff you've done too, but I want to just kind of talk a little bit about One Day at a Time. Obviously, you're working with Norman Lear.
Yes.
And of course, certain very well-known co-star plays your mother.
Yes, a little.
Yeah, a little. You might have heard of her.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is it like working with Rita and Norman? And I mean, I gather, let's be honest, they love to tell stories, and they have a ton of them, right?
They do.
But what is it like working with them as professionals? Because in fact, honestly, if anyone can say to you, like, look, here's how you get it done, and here's how you get it done right,
yeah,
the two of them might know a thing or two.
I think what's wonderful about them is that they don't go around preaching about what you should do or what you shouldn't do. They're just people that are generous, that are genuine, that are incredibly supportive and loving, and you feel very safe around them. So you kind of forget who they both are until people remind you who they both are.
Sorry about that.
No, everybody does that. And it's great. And it's a team. It's a real collaborative team. Rita is an amazing acting partner. Norman is an amazing boss, and it's just they never make you feel less than because of who they are.
Oh, and so few people can say that.
Yeah.
Now let's step back a bit, because
okay,
a lot of people discovered you, even though you were on an ABC after-school special when you were young, and and people might know this, and I to show off a little bit, you were on ER, you were on a number of episodes of Private Practice, but a lot of people discovered you obviously from when you were on 6 Feet Under as Vanessa Diaz.
Yes.
That show is always seen kind of as a show that was a prophecy of the era we live in now. And I always, it has one of the greatest finales of all time, where you and Federico, turns out you do end up together at the age of 75. What was that experience like for you? And is that something that is always like, do you feel like that's always going to be the first line of your obituary?
I feel like...
Sorry to be maudlin, yeah.
It kind of goes
one
with the
obituary
thing.
at a time.
I feel like it took a long time to live up to that show. And this is the first time in my career since that show that I feel it's the same kind of show, really. Also, what was it like? It was very different because there was no social media back then. So we didn't even know how popular we were. It wasn't that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know, people weren't tweeting, there weren't live tweeting parties, there wasn't any of this stuff. So it was kind of like we were just doing the work. And then afterward is when I realized, I can't speak for anybody else, what an impact that show had.
Do you in a way prefer that? Like, do you think maybe a non-social media world is the better way to experience it, both as a viewer and an artist?
Well, I mean, I'm old school, so I kind of tend towards that. But I love social media because it keeps me up to date on things.
And it's live and direct.
It's live and direct. Yeah. So I do like that, but I do kind of miss there's a lot of pressure with social media. That's the only thing that I'm not crazy about.
How do you mean?
Well, pressure, how many people are going to like this? You know what I mean? I know it's stupid, but there is a lot of pressure with the number of followers that you have, or these kind of things that I find to be really ridiculous. So that's the part I don't like about it. But I certainly do like the up-to-date, the live situation, and knowing what's going on in the world. What are you doing? Are you shopping? Because who said you could shop?
You said I could order sneakers for school.
5 pairs?
Monday through Friday.
Oh, well, I can't have my son walking around in Monday sneakers on a Saturday. Somebody might call child services.
Mom, I'm in middle school now. How I look kind of matters.
Okay, so you can buy 1 pair for under $40.
40?
That'll get you perfectly good sneakers to last the whole year.
The whole year? Okay, Mom, I know we're not rich, but are we poor?
No, we're fine.
That sounds like poor.
We're not poor. I mean, look around. We have a TV, a refrigerator. You have a laptop.
These are things that poor people have.
We have an air conditioner.
You never let us turn it on.
The point is you could, but don't ever touch that thing.
Now, but part of that is to talk about one day at a time again, is it's a multi-generational show.
Yeah.
So what is that like? You know, you've got Rita, you know, who's an older person.
Yeah.
And incredibly well established, but you've also got the kids,
Yes.
you know? So what is that like, that dynamic?
I feel like we all learn from each other. Like, I learn from Rita, Rita learns from me, I learn from these kids. You know, the kids have their finger on the pulse of what's happening. I'm kind of like in the middle. It's kind of like the show. And then Rita's old school, except that Rita has more energy than all of us. So that's the thing.
I really doubt that.
Come on.
Come on, you could plug you into the power grid and keep the country going.
I love that. But she's pretty good. But I think we all learn from each other. That's the wonderful thing. There's different aspects of life and different conversations that happen, and that's what the show is.
You guys are obviously, you're going to come back for a season 2. You've
Yes.
been renewed. How is streaming for you? I mean, this is the first time you've done streaming.
Yeah.
What was it like as an experience? Like, boom, whole show, there you go. No next week, see what happens. Like, there it is.
It was funny. We were talking about that on the way over here. I love the streaming because I like to binge watch. But I kind of miss the waiting for the week and having an article written about
Really?
it. Yeah, like the recap of the show. This is what happened on the show this week. And also, you can't be that current.
I mean, I think that the themes that you guys have chosen and the way you work it, they still resonate incredibly strongly.
Isn't that true? And they always have.
One of my favorite episodes, one of my favorite episodes, but one of the elements of the episodes that I really like is when you go and get the car. What was that like for you performing? Because that was such a broad strokes emotionally to go, and I mean that in the best way.
Yeah.
To go from, I mean, literally, you're in tears, you're laughing, you bond with the lady who sells you the car on an entirely different level.
I love it. I get to do everything that I can do. And that doesn't happen often when you get a part that you get to go from 0 to 100 and you're comfortable with doing it. And since they know I can do it, they write it over and over again, which is really great because to me, it's like, I'm on top of the world right now. This is the greatest part I've ever had. I love it.
But what was the show where you're like, now I'm becoming the actor I want to be?
Ooh, I don't think it was 6 Feet Under just because I look back now and I go, yeah, that was good. But you know, when you're there, I have to say, I think it was Queen of the South.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it was because...
But you've been doing stuff for years at that point.
I know, but you know, it takes somebody a while to get it together. You know,
Tell me, I know all about that.
Like insecurities and silly things. And I think Queen of the South was the one where I was like, all right, I can do it. I can do anything. It was pivotal. Queen of the South was pivotal in my career.
Now, how did that then pivot into what you did in One Day at a Time?
It gave me, Queen of the South made me realize that I could be the lead of a show. Because for a long time, I just said, it's not going to happen. Because, you know, for the obvious reasons. I was like, yeah, well, you know what? I'm always going to work. I'm always going to be a working actress. I'll probably be the person that's the breakout or somebody that they like. But I never thought, I gave up that dream, which was really sad.
Really?
Yeah, I really did. I started to not believe that it could happen. And
well,
yeah,
you were wrong.
I was wrong. Thank God I was wrong. And Queen of the South showed me that. Really, it really did. So that's why it was pivotal to go, oh, I can do this. And so One Day at a Time came at the perfect time.
So it was all new muscles.
It was all new. It was remembering and believing in myself again.
Well, we remember and we believe. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Justina.
much, Dominic.